Good evening. Welcome to the City of Burbank Infrastructure Oversight Board meeting. Today is June 25, 2026. Moving forward, we'll have a section for the public comments. Members of the public can call 818-238-3335 to have any comments or questions about items on the agenda. With that, we're going to start with the first order of business, which is flag salute. Raise with me. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May we have a roll call?
Armin Abazian.
Present.
Marcus Davis, currently absent. Dwayne Gilmore.
Here.
Colin Hoffmeister.
Yes, here.
Lori Stearns.
Yes, here.
Jane Weber.
Here. Thank you. Next item is announcements. Do we have any announcements? No announcements. All right. Public comments. Do we have public comments? All right.
No public comment at this time.
No callers?
No callers.
Okay. Moving forward to item D, board member response to public comments. Skipping that. Consent calendars. Approval of the minutes of the IOB meeting held on April 23, 2026. Recommendation is to approve the minutes of the meeting held by IOB on April 23, 2026. Do we have a motion?
Yes.
Second? Roll call, please.
Colin Hoffmeister.
Here.
Lori Stearns.
Yes.
Shane Weber.
Abstain.
Dwayne Gilmore.
Yes.
Armin Abazian.
Yes.
Motion passes with 4 yeses and 1 abstention.
All right, with that, moving to item G, reports to the board.
Hi, this is Lifan, Chief Assistant Public Works Director, City Engineer. So in our last IOB meeting, staff was asked to bring back some CIP performance matrix, and we've prepared a presentation and a staff report to go through that. So with that, we're going to start the presentation. Yep. So as we're waiting to load the presentation, there's a couple of conventional matrix that's very easy to follow. One is budget, and then the other one is schedule, right? Those, but the third one is the one that's really hard to qualify, and I have to explain it throughout the presentation. It's public impact. So that is different for every project, and it's best for me to explain it for different kind of project. So if you, we look through all the recently completed applicable projects in the last year and a half or two, and basically what we found is the budget is actually the easiest one to comply. For the most part, we've done a very good job in terms of getting project done within the budget. And we have a 100% of the project that's within the budget. And in terms of completed within schedule, there's just one project that has run into some difficulties in terms of completing in time, and I will get to that. But for the rest of the project, for the most part, we are able to complete them on time. So to explain it a little bit further, so typically, if you look at a capital improvement project, it can divide into really three major parts. One's a planning, the other design, and the last one is construction. So I put the bidding process and procurement that part, in the design phase. So one of a lot of times when we set a budget, and it's when we completed the design, that's when we really know what the budget is, because a lot of times we only have a concept at the very beginning. Here is something we want to do, what it looks like, and what actually it consists of. A lot of times it won't take its shape until the design is complete. And when we have a design, that's when we also have estimate construction duration. But in terms of schedule, we would have a construction duration, but we won't really have a starting day until we really get into a conversation with the contractor. So the actual scheduling is set, the duration is set during the design process. But the actual schedule is when we actually have able to engage in the contractor to set what is the reasonable starting date. So I'm going to explain that with different kind of projects. So some of the projects are different than the other. Like for example, this one, the starlight boat repair. So what happened is we have a windstorm. If you remember, in January 2025, and that pretty much destroyed the starlight boat roof. And what that also did was because the extended damage, the repair is going to take quite a bit of time, and that put the 2025 season on the starlight boat on hold for a while until we are able to relocate that or reprogram that. However, we're determined to have the 2026 season back. So for this project, the first thing that was set is the deadline. We have to get the project completed in April 2026. That was the first target. And everything is worked backward from there. So that's a little different than most of the projects. So in this case here, the public impact is there's two different kinds of public impact. One is what the finished project will do for the public. And the other one is what the impact to the public is during construction. So in this particular case, the impact to the public is 100% in line with the schedule, because the sooner you can finish the project, the sooner you can put the starlight boat in use, and the sooner the public can use it. And because it's completely out of commission, all the construction, for the most part, will not affect the public at all. So in this case, it's a rare case that when we consider public impact, that we only consider, hey, we got to get this done as soon as possible. And that's not the case for most of our other projects, and I'll explain it throughout the presentation. So in this case here, not only we set the deadline, but what that does is put this project at a high priority. What that means is it's not only public works staff have to make it a priority, but we have to work with other departments to make it a priority. We have to work with finance purchasing. We have worked with city attorney's office. So it's not every project can be the top priority, because if you have all the project priority, you have no priority. Because what that does is a zero-sum game. And anytime you drop something, you make something a priority, that means you have to sacrifice other things. So not only that other projects have to take a backseat to this, but some of the more day-to-day operation in other departments, for example, city attorney's office, they are not focused on CIP. CIP is one small percentage of what they do. But, but to make this a priority, that means some of the other day-to-day tasks may be taking a back seat. So that's why one of the impact we want to consider is, how it impacts the overall operation of the city. So that's why this is one of the cases that everybody's focused to get the 2026 season back, and we are able to do it right at the deadline, because we have to take into consideration for potential FEMA reimbursement. That means we have to make this a project to by the federal standard. And that means a lot of extra documentation, a lot of actual work, a lot of procedure we have incorporated into the bidding, into the construction, to be compliant with the regulations, so the project can potentially be reimbursed by FEMA. So that's all the. So that is it's not a typical case of how we do it, but this is one of the examples that all projects are different. So here's a more typical projects of what we do. This is Orange Grove parking structure. Has a lot of concrete, needs a lot of concrete repair, both for the wall and flooring, as well as a lot of fresh painting, coating. So we have this project in planning for a long time. Try to want to get the plan and specs into where it needs to be. And then also, once we actually have the design completed, we were, if we are able to, we actually could have started the project a lot sooner. We could have started construction as soon as October last year. But here's what I mean by public impact. We need to consider what the construction actually do, because the construction would have taken out a lot of available parking spaces during construction. And November and December is the busiest shopping season. A lot of retailers and are doing a very large percentage of their annual revenue during those 2 months. So we have to take that into consideration and work with all the downtown vendor and actually, we postponed the start date of the project until after the new year, so that we can minimize the impact, not only to the local business, but for all the residents that would be visiting the area. So, so if we just strictly go by the two measurable metrics of budget and schedule, that would be, that would not be you would not be able to really take into full account of the impact of the project. So this is one of the aspects, what I mean by public impact during construction. And then throughout the projects, we have to work very closely with the local business. For example, the India, the Flavor of India restaurant, we're doing a lot of do what we can to keep the restaurant in operation while we are doing all this work, and that's why you see all this scaffolding around the restaurant, and a lot of coordination goes into to minimize the impact to the public, even though a lot of space was not available during construction, but for the most part, we were able to manage the impact to minimize it. So after a few months, it was completed earlier this month, and all the concrete damage were repaired, and we got a fresh coating as well as fresh painting, and it looks, as well as marking and striping, it looks great compared to what you see in the past. And then another project, for example, is the Grand Oaks Arterial and First Avenue signal improvement. So one of the factor we often have to consider for our project is the long lead time of some of the equipments we have to use for the project. For example, for whatever reason, the traffic signal pole and traffic equipment takes about anywhere from 9 months to 18 months of lead time just to get those equipment from the vendor. So we have to take into consideration of that a factor incorporated in our project. So the project duration for this project was long, but we have to divide them into phases to make sure the impact to the public is minimized. So that means we only close the road and only close the section of the road when we need to. And there's a lot of times that the work will be more localized and to minimize the impact to the public. For example, some of the work, it could be just working on the cabinet, and but other work may, like for example, when you replace a signal pole, you're gonna close half the street, and depends on how wide the street is, you may not be able to maintain two directions at traffic directions at all time. So all those, a lot of the consideration for the project is how to minimize the impact of the traffic, how to minimize the impact to the pedestrian. And so the construction duration, and sometimes it's not, it does not tell the whole story, because you really have to think of the overall impact to the public. So if the project may take longer, but the overall impact may be less. So we have, every project, we have to think of, to optimize how we can, get the project done on, within the budget and on time, but as well as minimize the impact to the public. And this is especially pronounced when there's something, the project's on the public right away. And even for small project that you would think is simple. For example, here it's just, in terms of dollar amount, 150,000 to, refurbish the Starfighter that was on Isaac Park. But there's a lot of details we have to work out. For one, the city does not own the aircraft itself. It was donated by the Air Force for the city to display it. But the Air Force still owns the aircraft. And whatever work that needs to be done on the aircraft, we have to get authorization from the Air Force. And any repair, we have to keep it to the original condition as much as possible. That means we cannot change how the aircraft would have looked. So not only we have to keep to the original color scheme, but also we spend a lot of time to find aftermarket to get the original parts for the aircraft. So we're grateful that such a market actually exists. We're able to get a lot of original F-104D Starfighter aircraft parts to finish the project. And however, that means the project takes a long time compared to what you think a small project would take. And a lot of challenges we run into is when we are doing this, it's during the raining season. One, for two, it's the aircraft, it's actually pretty high up in the air. It's just, you don't look that way when you look at it from a distance, but when you actually have to walk on it, it's challenging. As well as you have to, because we only do this maybe once every 30 years. The last time we did it was in, I'm not sure since it's been donated, it's been done. So we have to figure out, learn a lot of things that, that's new to us as well. We would, for decades, and this is the first time we will have to work on an actual aircraft. So we have to figure out a lot of things on the fly. So those are a lot of challenges we run into. So it's sometimes the smaller projects, it's actually takes more effort compared to some of the larger one. And this is one of the examples. There's so many different new aspects to this that compared to what we normally do. And we spend, our staff spend a lot of time to make everything work, but it's worth it because it looks great, after it's done and compared to what it was, and everybody loves it. So it's one of the things that's a small project, but it takes so much effort, and we really have to take pride into what we do, and instead of just for the sake of completing the project, we want to complete it in a good quality, in a way that we think it's good. And some of the other projects, for example, is completely invisible to the public. However, it disproportionately impacts a section of our staff. For example, here, when we are doing the Fire Station 11, which is located in the fire headquarters, that means the firefighters won't have the use of the kitchen for the duration of the project. So that may not sound like a big deal on a first glance, but once you consider the firefighters usually go on a 48-hour shift or 72-hour shift, they live there. So imagine you cannot use your kitchen for days on end. That's or weeks, and that. So a lot of consideration that we take into is how to shorten the duration of the actual construction. So we do a lot of work that doesn't plan everything out ahead of time in terms of timing all the equipment delivery. So once we start the construction, we can time it in such a way that will minimize the downtime. So that's one of the very important aspect of what we consider. But then there's there's some particular things. For example, when we need to connect the new electrical panel to the main panel, that requires the shutdown of the building. Normally, that's not a big deal, right? But when you have to shut down a fire station, and the fire station happen to be at the same as the police headquarters, we have to shut down the police and fire headquarters in order to do this. So lots of planning, it's done, and a lot of coordination just for that particular shutdown. And so, it seems that's why it seems a lot of the projects and a small project could be very challenging for a lot of reasons. And at the end, it looks great. All the firefighters love it.
Mr. Zhu, may I just, for the sake of everybody's time, can we just go a little bit faster through the slides?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So I'm almost there. So this is the project that we see up front is for the security upgrade, and this is the one that failed to meet the schedule. Not only it failed to meet the schedule, it failed by a significant amount of time. A lot of it is due to the inability of the contractor to produce quality customized fabrication. And the project, we're still working out the details with the contractor, so I cannot get into detailed discussion in terms of all the reasons that caused the delay. But this is the only project that failed to meet its schedule. And for all the street projects, I'm going to hand it over to Artin for the rest of the presentation.
Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the board. Artin Megarichian with the Engineering Division of Public Works. So I have a lot of photos, but I'll be quick, go through them quickly. So same thing with our sidewalk and street improvement projects. There's a lot of impact to residents, schools, and businesses that are nearby or adjacent to the work. I'll go through sidewalk project completed. We have our arterial street project, which was on Victory Boulevard from Verdugo to the city limit at Glendale. And we have, as you can see, curb ramps at signalized intersections, creating impact to the drivers, commuters. So traffic control becomes very critical. We have sidewalk closures for sidewalk reconstruction work. So again, traffic control, critical. And we have the grinding of the existing asphalt, and immediately after that, the temporary striping goes in so the commuters can continue using the street. Paving operations, we can see traffic controls set up, so we keep one lane open in each direction to minimize impact, and we don't close the street. And traffic loop installation and striping at nighttime to, again, minimize impact to the public and the commuters. And this is the final street, completed street. These two photos are from Victory Boulevard, and then these photos, the one on the left is from Alameda Avenue, which was also part of the project, and the one on the right is from First Street, from Verdugo to Olive Avenue, which was also part of the project. And the same thing with our residential street improvement projects. We have divided the city into 20 maintenance zones. And this project, this was the most recent project, was completed a couple of months ago. And we addressed zones 15, 16, 17, and 18. And once we identify the streets that are rated poor and below in terms of pavement condition index rating, then we have to start developing our plans, specifications, and engineer's estimate package, which we call the PS&E, to go through advertisement, selection of contractor, award of the contract, and then start construction. And once we also have our project location map, which is what we're seeing on the slide, is we do a number of things. One of them would be utility notification and coordination to make sure there are no conflicts. Sometimes we find out through the process that there are conflicts with water or electric or gas or AT&T, that they have major projects planned, so we might delay a certain segment to a following project. And the other part of the critical item that we do once we have a location map is we look at the impacted schools. We have a little legend showing the schools in the area, and also we see how our construction activities would impact the residents and the businesses that are on the arterial streets. So we try to account for those impacts and do everything we can to minimize it, and we develop a phasing schedule or map for the contractors that are bidding on the project to know that this project must be completed in multiple phases to minimize the impact to the public. And once we award the project, select our contractor and award, then the contractor provides a initial schedule, this is a sample of it, that's reflecting our phasing schedule and map. And as you can see, they have the green colors, blue colors, yellow, and some dates are grayed out. Those are our holiday moratorium. We don't allow construction, let's say during the week of Thanksgiving and during the last 2 weeks of the year. So that way we don't impact the public. And then notifications. So we want to make sure that everyone that's impacted is notified. So we do a lot of, send out a lot of notifications. In this particular project, we have 4 different notifications. We had the generic notice of street improvement notification, letting everyone know that we have a contractor and our project will be coming through. And we have another notification, the paving specific notification for the weekdays. And we have a Saturday notification for Saturday work around the schools, which we complete in a single shift. So all of the activities of 1 week are condensed into 1 day. And we also have alley improvement notifications. In addition to notifications, our contractors also post no parking signs on the segments that will be scheduled, and that way residents in real time see that the project is coming the following week. And always with projects, there are challenges and unforeseens that impact the schedule, such as roots, tree roots, and the pipes that shouldn't be there, and they get cut, and now we have to figure out how to mitigate that and fix that leak. Another coordination effort is to when, for example, in this scenario, we have a cross gutter that instead of constructing it at the same time, we're doing one half at a time to allow for traffic to get through the street, and we're allowing one lane open in each direction. So to minimize impact, again, to the businesses, to Warner Brothers Studios and the businesses around. This is a great example of coordination, which might delay, for example, this specific street until those utility lines are installed. So in this specific street, Winona Avenue, as you can see, there are two types of trenches. One was the electrical with Water and Power's electrical division, which we coordinated the work. They installed their pipelines and the vaults to the substation. And also we have another line next to it, which is the water main line by Burbank Water and Power's water division. So we coordinated with both divisions until they completed their work, and then we scheduled our street and paved it. And same thing with the concrete work, minimizing impact with the traffic controls and safety measures, and some of the photos that I included just to show the impact. We have grinding of existing asphalt with base repairs for repaving work, crack filling and asphalt repaving, layout for striping work with traffic loop installation, reconstructing existing speed humps, installation of the final thermoplastic striping with utility adjustments, and also alleys, which in this scenario there's alleys, a couple alleys in commercial areas and a couple of residentials, which also impact whoever is using those parking spaces or their garages or their accesses through the alley. So we make sure we notify and let everyone know that the project is on certain days, so they're making those arrangements that are needed. And some of the final photos of our completed streets. And this is the last slide. So with that, I'll pass it over to Kenny. Or not.
We'll ask
Okay, questions first.
Thank you for presentations. Great set of slides. Any questions, comments from our board members? Yes.
Good evening. Thank you for the presentation. Just one question regarding the alleyways. I noticed in the commercial alleyways, there's a center gutter line in concrete, and the residential alleyway, there isn't. Just wondering if there's an explanation for that.
Would you repeat the question?
In the slide here on, I think it's page 41 or slide 41, there's two commercial alleyways pictured on top and then two residential alleyways pictured on the bottom. In the commercial alleyway, there appears to be a concrete center line gutter, but not on the residential alleyway. I was just wondering what the explanation for that was.
Gotcha. So the scope for those alleyways were to basically resurface the asphalt. So those longitudinal gutters were already existing on the commercials, so we just resurfaced the asphalt portion. And the residentials did not have the longitudinal gutter, but what we are creating with the asphalt is the flow line still in the middle, so it's almost acting similar to a longitudinal gutter. But with the asphalt, it's a lot less impact, because removing 8-inch section for concrete, it would not allow for residents driving to their garages. So we're just trying to resurface the alley and still create that flow line in the middle.
Okay, and then I guess also looking at the commercial photos, it does appear that there is adjacent to the public right-of-way some large surface areas that probably accumulate some runoff. So is there likely additional runoff in these commercial alleyways?
Sorry, would you repeat the question?
So next to these two commercial alleyways, there's like commercial parking lots. So there's impermeable surface, large amounts. Doesn't look like that in the residential photos. So anyway, I'm just curious as to why there was a mainline concrete gutter in the commercial alleyway rather than the residential alleyway.
So,
Right.
yeah, so this is Lifan. So the reason a lot of it has to do with the value of flow. So it's not necessarily what type of area it is, but how much tributary area upstream. So in this particular case, that I think the ribbon gutter has a lot, much larger upstream tributary area, and when it rains, the volume of the surface flow is much greater. That will exceed, a normal alleyway would able to handle it. That's why you need a specifically a gutter. A centralized ribbon gutter. Sometimes even that doesn't do the job. That's when we put in underground storm drain. So it all is how much stormwater runoff there is.
Sure, perfect, okay. And then just for people watching at home, the purpose likely of this centerline concrete gutter is because that larger volume of water running down the center of an asphalt alleyway is probably going to cause more erosion, and that alleyway would likely need to be replaced sooner.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. Any other questions from our board members? Yes, Mr. Gilmore?
Well, just want to commend you on the meeting all these deadlines. To see really the only misfire was due to that the contractor, the customization of the security doors, I guess, the fitting. So and on budget. So I think that's pretty fantastic. I did have a question about the what do they call it? The aircraft restoration. So just curious, if the Air Force owns it and it was donated to the city, but you have to get approval from the Air Force, why is the city responsible for the painting and the restoration?
That was the original agreement when they donated to the city. The city agreed to maintain it. So that was in the very early when it was originally proposed to donate it to the city. So.
Any other question? I think we have one more presentation. Right.
Good evening, IOB board members. My name is Kenny Armenta. I'm the building section facility maintenance manager. This presentation will be on facility maintenance program fiscal year 25-26. These are the topics I will be covering today. Facility maintenance overview, fiscal year 25-26 budget, facility maintenance performance, unplanned projects. What is facility maintenance? Facility maintenance encompasses preventative maintenance, corrective actions to keep facilities safe, presentable, and functioning optimally. The city has over 1,400,000 square feet of floor space across 125 buildings. Major building systems such as plumbing, electrical, HVAC, and elevators. There are over 350 backflows and related devices that the city requires maintenance and preventative maintenance. There are over 650 electrical panels and related devices in the city that require regular and preventative maintenance. HVAC mechanical. There are over 1,400 mechanical units in the city that require regular maintenance and preventative maintenance. There are 32 elevators and lifts in the city that require regular maintenance and preventative maintenance. The building maintenance division is comprised of 4 sections: the painters, custodial, construction maintenance, and carpentry. The custodial sections, responsibilities, sweeping, mopping, vacuuming, dusting, floor care, stripping, waxing, light bulb replacement, evening setups, breakdowns, furniture moving, mail delivery, and support public meetings. The custodial section oversees a team of 10 custodial city employees, 13 contracted custodians who work in 2 shifts. They are tasked with daily tasks of cleaning and maintaining 25 city buildings. We have two shifts, 6 a.m. to 2:30 and 3:30 to midnight. We have the construction maintenance section. They are responsible for plumbing, electrical, pools, roofs, and electrical systems. The carpentry section is responsible for doors, hardware, security, windows, furniture, installation, and modifications, and locksmith. The paint section is responsible for painting, graffiti removal, carpet, flooring, and blinds. Next is fiscal year 25-26 facility maintenance budget, Fund 534. Fiscal year 26-25 facility maintenance budget is roughly about $3,843,000. $3,266,000 is allocated for contracted services, and about $567,000 is allocated for materials and goods. This is the expenditure on the contracted services and the materials, with the major expenditures obviously being the contracted services for maintaining our buildings. This is a cost distribution for our contracted services, and as you guys can see, HVAC is taking about half of our budget. Facility maintenance program. Work order summary from July 1st, 2025 through June 31st, 2026. Total work orders submitted were 2,922. Total work orders closed were 2,785, giving us a completion rate of 95%. In quarter 1, quarter 2, total work orders submitted were 1,624. Total completed work orders were 1,596, giving us a 98% completion rate. And the second half of the year, quarter 3 and quarter 4, total work orders submitted were 1,315. Total completed work orders were 1,208, giving us a 91% completion rate. And average standard, that's kind of where I want my crew to operate in the 90s. So anything above a 90, we're operating at optimal capacity. In addition to the maintenance activities discussed above, 60 unplanned projects were completed in the last 12 months. You have the city attorney's kitchen remodel, city manager's community office reconfiguration, fire station 11 cubicles and offices reconfiguration, and there was a total of 60. And I have some pictures and examples of the work that's done under my section. The kitchen at the city attorney's has been completely renovated to update its facilities and improve functionality. As you can see on the picture on the left, that's the before and that's the after. And I can tell you, other than the floor work, all this stuff was done by internal staff, which is my staff. This is a community office reconfiguration, and I kind of do CIP, but on the smaller section, so I kind of want to touch on what LaFont was talking about, right? So this project here, it was just more than they just got a paint job and all that. So some of these walls were considered, they had to be abated, right? So I had to coordinate with staff to work during the night, because obviously we can't do that type of work with employees being present, right? So I had to coordinate this on 2 weekends in a row to remove all the hazardous material from it. Then I also have to work with, coordinating with staff, because they got all the new furniture, right? So all that's got to be in play. And then plus you have the electrical, you have fiber optics for the phones and the, what we call the, sorry, I'm going blank right now, for our computers, the Cat6. So the power, Cat6, and the phone lines all have to be ran, right, to be able to, office staff can function properly. So all that planning has to take place in order for us to be able to achieve us having a successful project. But it takes a lot of coordination from me and my staff, along with what we call our customers, right, city employees, to minimize impact to them. This is the new fire station 11 cubicles. One section is for like administrative staff, the other section is for fire prevention. The old ones were bigger, bulkier, and kind of outdated. They were over 25 years old and had reached their end of life cycle. The fire training center, we replaced the carpet there. There was a lot of stains. It was, again, about 25 years old, stains everywhere, so we changed that. This space is utilized for not only by the fire training staff and their academies, but it's also utilized by management services where they conduct testing there. So, Fire Station 14 experienced leaks from both shower pans and sections of piping, which resulted in water damage onto the turnout room located beneath. In response to this issue, the contractor undertook the replacement of the piping, the shower pan, and the shower tiles to resolve that issue. Again, this is a repair, but it also became a project because it's encompassing multiple trades, right? And then the firefighters didn't have a shower for about a week or two, so that's something that we had to work out with them as far as their downtime. So, Nature Center door. This is another one that's actually, this project was ready in August to start, but as you guys know, they have summer camp there. So Parks asked us, hey, can we start this in October once they're all done with it? We're like, yeah, we're ready to go. We have everything lined up. We got all the materials. This was a specialized door. It's all metal. As you notice, the one on the left, that was a wooden door. It received a lot of vandalism. So we had this door, was a 4-month lead time because it's a metal door, and then the paint and the glass. There's glass, those squares right there that you see, that's glass. So this took 4 months to fabricate. The IT department, office reconfiguration. There used to be what we consider a storage room. They reached out to me to see if we can convert that to an office to support additional staff. And we did. What we did is we covered that doorway, we reframed it. We reran the low voltage, which is phone, cable, internet, and electrical outlets. It received new carpet and new furniture. The fire training center, compressor room, roof replacement. This roof was beyond its life cycle replacement. It had wood rot underneath, it had several leaks everywhere, so it necessitated a full replacement. Fire Station 15, the dorm blackout blinds. This is really necessitated, especially at nighttime. Some of our fire stations are located by parks, and the park lights are very blinding to the firefighters, and they have a hard time sleeping. So these blackout blinds really help them get better sleep. And I'm open for questions.
Thank you for the presentation. Any questions from our board members? We'll go from side first.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Just curious, how do these unplanned projects arise and then wind up being completed?
So they arise during the year, right? So if they're getting, let's say, a department CDD or CDD. CDD or, we'll just take them for example, right? They got approved during the fiscal year to add additional staff. At that point, they're gonna need additional rooms to house those employees. So that's how these unplanned projects come up. That's a scenario.
Okay. So particularly like the city attorney's office kitchen, and I guess I'm asking this because this is being presented as part of the maintenance presentation. Was there some sort of maintenance necessity for the city attorney's kitchen renovation?
So the kitchen cabinets, I know you weren't able to see the inside of it. It was deteriorating pretty quick. This was supposed to be encompassed during that construction phase for the office reconfiguration that they had there. It got left out and it got put in my court, so I took it on.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Yes.
Yeah, hi. I just had, out of curiosity, two questions. On the carpenter section, I'm looking at that image, and I think I figured out what's going on, but I'm just very curious. They've got some big 4x6s and it looks like car jacks in a hallway.
Yes.
Is that just to compress the cove base, or is there something else going on? I'm just
So, the reason for this picture, the city attorney's whole area was not closed to the public. So we had to add additional storefront and glass to fully enclose and secure their area, necessitating us pushing that up to make the rest of the storefront complete. So we had to move it up a couple of inches to make that work.
Move the wall?
It wasn't the wall, it was cubicles.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes more sense. I was just more of a curiosity here.
No, the wall wasn't going nowhere, it's
Yeah,
concrete.
that's right. It looks like two walls, and I was just
Yeah,
curious.
we're just pushing the cubicles up
I
a
was
few
just curious,
inches.
because it was an interesting construction method. And then just the nature center door, because I've been there a couple times and taken some kids there. Great little place, and I remember seeing that door damaged. And I see the custom door, and again, this is just curiosity. I see the width is the same, but one door is much narrower than the other. Is that for just easier access for the public?
So depending on the type of furniture that they're getting in there, so that door opens. But normally it's closed during normal operations, but we have that option. We can fully open that in case they need to put something larger in there. So we have that feasibility.
Okay, so the wider door is open, and that's easy access for anybody?
Correct.
And then if you need to move
Yes.
a larger item, so the other one stays closed?
Yes.
And is more secure?
Correct.
Got it. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
Thanks for the presentation. It was really interesting to see the work you do. I have two questions for you, if I may. When is your fiscal year end?
June 31st. Sorry, I wasn't able to, we're still in June, but I kind of made it to June 1st.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so
Great, great.
our fiscal year is from July to June.
July to June.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I was
Sorry,
just-
because I'm bringing it to you earlier, so I'll need it to June 1st.
Oh, no problem. I was just sort of looking at your budgets, and I thought, it seems like it's tracking pretty well.
Yes.
And it seems fine. Second question I had is, I'm just kind of looking, well, firstly, it's no joke to maintain 1.3 million square feet across so many buildings, so well done on that. And I was just curious about the work orders that you get in, and there are a lot of them, and what's your methodology for figuring out your budgets relative to work orders? Because some of this, I'm assuming, is a little ad hoc, right? Like, people ask you to do something, you guys show up and do it well, and it's obviously hard to budget for those
So-
requests coming up.
Yes, so some of these unplanned projects are actually paid by the department. We're just performing the work. So that's the bulk of it. The actual departments are actually paying for this work. I'm just taking on the responsibility of seeing the project from design to completion.
Okay,
But it's not actually coming out of our fund per se.
okay, so it's easy enough to plan
Yes.
for. Yeah,
So maybe this is, so is, a lot of it has to do based on past experience. So the small capital improvement project budget involve and is stabilized at a certain amount that we seem to find it working. So, yeah, so for the most part, that works.
Oh, yeah, great. If you don't mind, I have one more. I think when you presented slide 13, there was a little bit of a gasp on how the HVAC seems to, occupy the majority of the financial commitment, I guess you could say. Would you kindly just sort of give us sort of a brief
Overview? Oh,
overview,
absolutely.
right.
So
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is the question everybody has, right?
Yeah.
So the HVAC is 100% contracted out. None of my staff service any of that. And from being in the industry for over 25 years, HVAC is the hardest trade by far. You have 3 different components you gotta take into consideration. You have the actual HVAC unit itself. Most of these units are tied into our building management system, which is our BMS, which controls, it basically controls if an area is not in use, the HVAC unit's not gonna work, it's not gonna turn on. So it's a smart unit, right, where we control, we give it schedules. And then you actually have the electrical going to the unit. So there's 3 different components, and it's the most challenging and most expensive trade out of all of them by far.
Well, it's important to keeping
Yes.
everybody happy and healthy in city buildings. So it's one of those things that nobody really takes any notice of until it goes badly, right? So well done.
It's the most visual of all of them, because I'll get those calls, so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions? Yes, go ahead.
I have actually one more question as it relates to the contractors that the city has engaged for this type of work. I'm just looking for the list really quick. Right here. Some of these contracted services, I noticed that there's only one vendor. Is there a reason for that?
Yes, so with, like HVAC, for instance, and plumbing, right? We have price agreements. So the costs are predetermined. We go out to bid every, so I think we did a 1+4. So every year there's a renewal contract, but they submit, purchasing does a procurement for price agreements so that we're kind of have set rates. And we're not going out to different vendors.
Sure, okay. So like, for example, for electrical, there's only Ace Construction. For elevator, there's only Amtech.
Yes, those are all price agreements.
Okay.
We get better prices.
And for plumbing or for the HVAC, there's 2 separate contractors. Are those contractors performing this work at their own rates, their own separate rates that is agreed upon with the city?
So, it's under plumbing, but backflow devices basically protect the water from being contaminated, right? All valley backflow does is test the backflows. They do and repair the backflows if they're failing, right? But other than that, that's all they do. And that in and itself, it's its own challenges, because you have to be licensed by the county to be able to test those backflows.
Okay, so then it's like similar to the HVAC explanation you gave, then for plumbing, one contractor focuses maybe on fixtures or other residential installation or, commercial installations, and your other contractor is a specialty contractor for
Yes.
backflow testing.
Correct.
Okay, okay, that's it, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? I have a couple of questions. Can you tell, like, a guesstimate from the quantities of the projects you presented here, how many of them or what percentage of them are done by your staff and what percentage is done by contractors? And I don't need like
I would say
number.
75% is contracted and 25 is in-house.
Right, good.
But regardless of whether it's contracted or not, it's all going through me, so I'm planning this
Right.
at all times.
Good to know. Thank you. And also in terms of everything you presented here is CIP. It's a project, major work. In terms of maintenance, upkeeping, preventive maintenance, doing patches, repairs that eventually it doesn't turn into like a big CIP. Some minor roof repairs rather than replacement, or some plumbing fixes rather than fixing a whole shower pan. What's the percentage of the amount of the work that you do that we don't see it here?
Can you explain it? Can you explain that a little
amount of,
different?
like all the works that you presented here are major work, so
Right.
it's a CIP. Everything else, I assume, maybe the way I ask is, do you list everything else, the repairs, maintenance, touch up here, fix a leaking faucet or patching a paint? Those are listed under the tickets, service tickets covered?
Yes, yes. So I look at it in two different phases, right? Well, we have the work order systems where we need immediate work, right? That's one, but we also do preventative maintenance with internal staff and also with the contracted services. So ACO, which is our HVAC contractor, they perform preventative maintenance on a quarterly basis for all our units. So that's, we also do preventative maintenance, yes.
And that's also eating from the budget that you present here?
Correct.
So this budget is not fully just the CIP?
No.
Right. Good to know.
It's
Thank you.
mostly absorbed by maintenance.
That's all. Thank you.
So I kind of want to explain this, right? And this is kind of like the best terminology I can come up with. So my guys, as you know, being a doctor, right? We're the emergency room. We'll go in there, we'll patch it up, we'll make it work, right? What LaFon and his team does is more of the surgeons. They go in there and they make it right? So that's kind of the two analogies I had that would best separate. We're the same, but different.
If there is no other questions from our board members, we can, yes, go ahead.
Related to the contractor, so I understand that the majority of the work is subbed out, and that makes a lot of sense. It's specialty stuff. And they have a fixed contract that you review and afford to them. Does that cover, is that 24/7 type coverage, or is that only during business hours? Or do they charge more if you are off hours kind of
Yes,
work?
yes, they do charge off hours as a premium, yes.
Okay, so that's outside of the actual budget
Correct.
contract? Yeah, great, thank you.
Well, with that, we move into item H, introduction of additional agenda items. Are there any new additional items we want to introduce? How about future agenda items? We don't have any future agenda items proposed at this time?
Not at this point we have, but we don't have an actual day for them, so it would, not at this time.
All right, with that, before we move to adjournment and discussing about next meeting, which is scheduled on August, will we have an agenda item to go on the August 27th?
We don't have one set at this point.
Okay. So we'll set our July IOB meetings, usually not planned because of the summer holiday. Moving on August, we'll keep the August 27 on our schedule as planned. And please let us know in advance if there is no item on the agenda so we can remove this from our calendar.
Yes, we will.
With that, we'll move to adjourn. Next meeting is tentatively scheduled on August 27, 2026, 6 p.m. in room 24, CSP. That's it, right? Do we have to make a motion for adjourn? All right, that's all. Have a good rest of the evening.